Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and I'll be reacting to three more real life murderer encounter horror stories. This is from the channel Chilling Scares, I think it's called. So I'll put a link in the description down below so you go check them out yourself. And I think I've seen one of these. I think he had another one that says, I think it was just called Three Real Life. I think I saw it. Maybe I just saw the thumbnail because this was recommended to me. This thing is like 2 months old, but it was recommended to me uh, a few days ago. I say it came with my recommendation. I was like, and then uh, I was like, maybe I haven't really been reacting to a lot of like horror stuff on YouTube as of late because I'm trying to catch up on editing all the other TV shows that I've watched and still haven't edited. But almost finished with Invincible. I got 2 more episodes to do in that. I'm just gonna finish that before I think I'm gonna finish probably uh Cobra Kai after that. But what the fuck I was about to say? I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I just haven't been on the horror narration or animation train in a little bit. I kind of gotten away from it a bit. I don't know. But anyway, let's just get into this, I guess. I wanted to watch this yesterday, but I don't know, something happened with my mic. It was like the connection started messing up. I don't know. Sometimes that happens where the connection will mess up and it turned this mic off and started using the mic on my camera. But the mic on my camera has, I think I accidentally fucked it up. I was blowing an aerosol thing and I accidentally blew it into the mic while this was on. And I think that might have fucked it up. I'm not sure. But I've accidentally blown it on this and it didn't mess it up. So, no. But it was just like, uh, it was off. And then I said, well, let me make sure that this, because I was like, because it made like a noise, like something was disconnected. And I was like, what? But nothing came up on the screen. I was like, what was that? And I was looking for it and I found out that this was off. And then it kept turning off. Like I would unplug it, plug it back in, and it would be fine for a second. And then my camera started turning off. And I was like, oh man, please don't start this shit now. Because I've already had this problem with my laptop. Because I got like a connection thing. Like it's like one of those, I forget what they call it, but they have like extra USB ports in it. You plug it into, because I used that on my laptop because I didn't have a whole lot. I only had 3 on there. So, but I had like 5 USB ports that I wanted to plug into. So I got like, I think an extended USB port or whatever. And then I unplugged all of them, well, most of them, and plugged them into the actual desktop computer. And it was fine, but then it started acting up again. So I'm like, well, maybe it's the actual like camera, or maybe it's the mic. I don't know. I haven't. Well, I've had it. I bought this mic last year, so yeah, it's been over a year now. I've had this mic and this camera. So anyway, it's a cursor. Oh, there. Here we. Shit. That's probably me walking right there. I love like walking out at night. Nobody really fucks with me. Maybe because I'm a 6'2", like 300-pound black man. But,
When I was as young as 14, I started working at various gas stations in my town.
14.
My town was small. Everyone knew pretty much everyone.
Damn.
So the owners wouldn't care if I came in and helped out with
Wait a
stuff
minute.
like
I'm pausing this already. But because I grew up in a small town. Well, I didn't grow up from childhood into adulthood. I grew up from I was 13 until I was 18 in a small town. And you were not allowed to work there until you turned 16. I don't know if that's a federal thing. I don't know if that was just a rule in the town, but I know that because I wanted to try to get a job. And my dad was like, when I was 15, and my dad was like, because I had just got my license, because I was able to get my license 6 months early because I got my permit. As soon as I turned 15, I got my permit. Like, I think the day after my birthday, I went over there and got my permit. And then I had to wait 6 months. And then you can take the driving test and the written test stuff. And then you can get your license basically 6 months early from your 16th birthday. So I got my license 6 months early. And I remember I was trying to, I want to get a job now. My dad was like, boy, you need to focus on graduating from high school first. He was like, he said, you need to focus on that. He said, don't worry. He said, you'll have plenty of time to work your life away when you graduate from high school. He said, you're going to be working for the rest of your life doing something. So whether it's working for somebody or trying to work for yourself, you gonna be working for pretty much the rest of your life. So he said, focus on high school because it wasn't even allowed. And a lot of times you had to know somebody to actually get like hired like that when you were under the age of 18. Because I knew a girl in high school, she got a job. She was 16. And because she was a grade in front of me. And she got a job at some clothing store. But the person I found out because she was still working there when I graduated. And she was, well, like I said, she was only there. She was a year ahead of me. So she was still working there when I graduated. And I found out that her cousin actually owned that store. I knew the woman owned the store, but I didn't know that was her cousin. And that's what she was like. That's how I got the job. So she was 16 when she first got it. So I was like, oh, I knew a guy who actually worked at what they call it, a kangaroo. It was just a K, so it was a K. I used to just call it K. Some people call it Kangaroo gas station. And he was 15. I think when he started, he was younger than me. He was like, because I met him. I was a senior when he first came, and when he first came into high school, and then I think he was a sophomore when he started working there. Cause I started seeing him up there, and he was 15, which I was like, how the fuck? But he knew. I guess someone worked there that he knew, and they was able to get one of the managers or something gave him a job there. I was like, how the fuck these people getting these jobs? Because I didn't get my first job till I was 18 when I graduated from high school, and I was working at a movie gallery, which is a video store. And that's when I got, and then I was going to college then, and that was fucking rough. But anyway,
Mopping the floors, stocking the coolers,
this is crazy.
or even running the register
14.
at times. All for a small
It's still
amount of
crazy to
cash.
me. Like 14.
This
Like, isn't
all
that
took
child
place
labor
back in the
laws?
early 90s in Florida. It was maybe 11 p.m. at night, and I was sitting at my usual spot at a table that was set up along the windows of the gas station. I would generally spend most of the nights at that table reading books and periodically getting up to do different chores. Now, being only 14, I obviously wasn't allowed to be the only one running the store at any given time. It would usually be me and a manager.
Well, I guess he's just a
maybe
helper,
another
so
employee or
he's
two.
probably not even on the
This night,
books.
it
They
was
just
me and a guy named Jeff.
getting paid
Jeff was one
cash.
of the part-time managers, and usually when it was only me and him, he would spend most of his time in the back, which basically left me to hold down the store by myself. This night was no different. I remember sitting at the register when I glanced up. Something had caught my attention that was especially odd. I could see a lady who was walking up our parking lot from the direction of the interstate. Like, there were literally no customer cars in the parking lot. Now, this in itself was weird, as because of where we were located, we would get almost nobody that would walk here, especially not from the direction of the interstate. I mean, the store was practically in the middle of nowhere along a very desolate interstate.
Yeah,
Nobody just walks this road.
I've seen gas stations like that. I'm
Figured she
like,
must have
who
broken
the
down
fuck?
somewhere.
Like, where do you
Was
live?
coming up to fill a gas
gas
container,
station in the middle of
or use
nowhere.
The phone to call for a tow
It's
truck
like, do you live nearby, or do you have to travel
After
long
around a
distance
minute
to
of
get
me
here?
watching her, I realized
To
she
work
didn't
at a
have a
gas
container in
station.
her hands. She then came into the store and looked around for a few minutes. The whole situation just felt off. I remember getting a strange and disturbing vibe from her, just from the way she was looking around the store. By this point, Jeff had come out from the back and was standing behind the register with me. he would occasionally do this when customers came in. The lady then walked up to the counter and started telling us a story about how her car had broken down and that she needed a
That
ride to
bitch
some town I
lying.
had never heard of before. Jeff promptly
Wait,
responded,
you need a
saying that he was
ride to
working
town.
and that there was no way he could take her, as he
I'm
was the
like,
manager.
you can use the phone to
and
call a
leaving her
tow
alone.
truck.
That's when the lady turned to look at me, as if to get my response.
You 14, you
Before
can't
saying
drive.
anything, I looked back at Jeff, who looked at me with
Well,
a
you're
very
not supposed
cold
to
and
drive.
hard stare, subtly shaking his head as if to say no. And that was my assurance that I knew that he knew something was off about this lady. Now, before I could respond, she turned back to Jeff and pointed at me, asking if I could take her. Jeff quickly and sternly responded that I was too young to drive and said there was no way we could help her. I obviously didn't argue with Jeff about his response on my behalf, as to be quite honest, this was completely out of character for him.
Yeah, why would you
Jeff
argue?
was
You
normally friendly and even chatty with the customers, and this further supported the fact that Jeff knew something was off about this lady. The lady, now clearly infuriated, cussed us out and left. As she walked back down the parking lot, I kept an eye on her. I noticed she had
Yeah,
stopped
she
at the
about-
end of
y'all
the
about to
parking
get
lot, right
fucked
next to
up.
the interstate itself. I also noticed she was now on a phone call and waited for maybe 2 minutes when a car pulled up, stopped right next to her, and let her in as if the car was expecting her. The whole situation was weird, yeah. But
Are they
I
trying
never
to
truly
get someone to
realized how
rob
much
them
danger I
or
was
something?
actually in that night, until a while later. Almost a year passed. It was night, and I was in my bedroom falling asleep as the TV was on in the background. I don't know what channel it was on, possibly some news channel or something, but regardless, something I heard on the TV snapped me wide awake. I sat up to look at the TV and was greeted with the mugshot of a lady on the screen.
Oh,
As soon as I
hey.
saw her, I immediately knew
I seen this
that was
woman.
the same lady.
And this woman, she's a serial killer, right? Didn't she kill like 7, 8 guys or something? Because I know she's a prostitute. And I think her defense was because said that she killed those guys because they were trying to rape her. But they're like, well, why you? They all were killed in like either in a car or in an open field. I guess she made some people like get out of their cars and stuff like that, and then shot them. Which I'm like, okay, that's not self-defense anymore. Like, but I mean, because I think some people have said, because I've seen something on her, it's like a small documentary where she probably did get raped once, and she started carrying a gun, but she already had like some mental issues, and that was like the tipping point to now she saw everybody like that. But then she seemed to be in her right frame of mind because she was trying to like make up stuff because she was also robbing these guys. So I think people think that's what she was doing. She was just robbing them. And I almost thought that was, at first I thought this picture, he got it from that movie Monster with Charlize Theron. Because this looked like, because they made her, she looked almost identical to this one. Because at first I was like, is this her? Or is this Charlize Theron? He accidentally got a picture from the movie rather than the actual picture from the actual woman.
That I had been in the store with almost a year prior, and who tried to lure either me or my manager to drive her into town.
But I never heard of her
I was 100% sure that was
like
the same
trying
woman.
to hurt minors.
It turns out the lady was Eileen Warnos, who was later convicted of being a serial murderer with a confirmed 7 victims who were all men.
Okay, it
Eileen
was
would lure
7.
her
Yeah, I was thinking
victims
it was
out
7
into
or
the
8
middle
or
of
something like that.
nowhere, and that's where she would shoot them at point-blank range. What disturbs me most is how close I was to becoming one of those victims myself.
Is she still
Both
alive?
the way she acted in the store and what I now know about her, I firmly believe her plans were to kill either me or my manager Jeff that night. To this day, I still have nightmares about what would have happened had we done what she said.
You'd be dead. That's what happened. Because I never heard of her trying to kill minors unless he was like me at 14. Like, he looked like a grown-ass man.
This happened to me and my wife back in the summer of 2017. We had actually only gotten married a few months prior, and obviously because of the wedding costs, our financial situation wasn't the best. And this made it so that we could only afford a place to live.
That was
super
stupid.
cheap,
Why do
and
people
would let
do
us pay
that?
week to week.
Hold on.
but luckily
That kind of triggers me because I've had a few friends that have gone through this where they've gotten married, literally put themselves in debt at the beginning of their marriage just to get married. Like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you like if you're gonna take out a loan, like be because I had a friend who took out a loan, but he was able to pay it back, and it didn't really affect his life, that much. But I've also seen people like just they save up and then they pay money to get married, and they almost have nothing, and it breaks them. I'm like, why? Buy an expensive engagement. I'm like, why'd you do that? Like, just you can wait, or you can just get the paperwork so that you're legally married at a courthouse, whatever, and then do the ceremony later on if it's that important to you. Like, why you gotta break yourself and start a new life together in debt? That because you want this whole facade that everybody's seeing you get married. That's so stupid. That's a horror story. You ain't in debt, and first you by yourself in debt probably, or you were just okay. Now you in debt with somebody else. Like,
we were able to find just that in the form of a boarding house in our city. The house was 3 stories and had 4 rooms with a shared kitchen and a bathroom for everyone. We moved into one of the rooms on the second floor.
to make sure I thought I
Now,
saw
obviously,
something.
with it being a boarding house, we had to share with a few other people. The most noteworthy ones being a young couple named Jim and Jennifer, just above us in a room on the third
Jim
floor.
and Jim
And in the 3 months we lived there,
sound
they
like
were
some
the only
fucked
neighbors
up
we
people
talked to.
already. Just their
They
names.
seemed similar to us in both age and interests, but we usually just talked to them in passing, or even sometimes on the front porch, where we were all out having a cigarette. Though,
Hey, he said
after
he was in a
few weeks,
boarding
we
house?
quickly realized that they didn't get along too well. It started off with
So he
small
just paying
things,
for a room.
like hearing them yell at each other for short durations of time, or hearing one of them angrily leave the house in some absurd hour of the night. But the short fights didn't last long. They would get only longer and louder as time went on. Though, that was until one day. My wife and I were watching a movie, and the whole time the usual fights were taking place just above us. But right as the movie ended, we both noticed they abruptly stopped. Don't get me wrong, it was nice to finally have peace and quiet, but it was completely out of character for them. I mean, this never happened. They would almost never just abruptly stop yelling at each other, especially at this point in the night.
Yeah, because somebody dead.
Even still, we both agreed that we should take advantage of the silence and try to go to
You
sleep.
just hear the argument, just stop,
Luckily, we were
and
able
then
to.
hear a loud thud hit the
But
ground.
just for
It's
me to
like,
be woken up in the middle of the
I'm
night
sure
by
it's
my wife,
nothing.
who was shaking me and looking off toward the side of our bed. I was tired and completely out of it. I didn't know what time it was, or why I was being woken up. Out of habit, I turned over to get up. But when I did, I could make out a man standing right next to our bed,
Shit.
hunched over my nightstand going through the drawer. I was in absolute disbelief. After locking eyes, he stood up from his hunch position and proceeded to just stare at me. I
He's
sat
like,
up on my bed, and the guy started backing up slowly.
do you think
I
you are
honestly didn't know if what I
Drax?
was seeing was
just
real or just my imagination.
Stay still, I'm invisible.
But after turning on our room's lamp, I realized it was our upstairs neighbor Jim, the same one who was always yelling and keeping us up late. I was a little relieved, but still, why was he
What? Why
going
were
through
you
our stuff while we
relieved?
were sleeping? It was completely out of character for him. After calming
Wait, what? You were okay. You were a little relieved that it was Jim. You were sleeping. This motherfucker is in your room, robbing you. Like, and then you like it was out of character. Yeah, I would hope robbing someone is out of character for someone. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he is way too calm. And then he said he relaxed when he saw it was somebody that he recognized. I don't give a fuck if I'm in my room and I'm asleep and I wake up, even if it's like to a family member, like in my house, that's in my room. And they, it ain't gotta be like, oh, they were going through stuff while I was asleep. They opened the door to see, ask me something, and I was asleep, and I happened to wake up because I'm a light sleeper. And I wake up and I see that somebody, like the door open with their head sticking in. I'm gonna be on alert a bit, even if I recognize them. Like, what? Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm kind of. This is someone who doesn't live with you. They live in the same building as you, in your house, breaking and entering, and robbing you, or looking to try to steal something, and you're just like, oh, First you were shocked, and then you were relaxed a bit because you recognized.
Down for a second, I said, well, what's up, Jim? What are you doing in our room, man?
What's up, Jim?
After a few seconds
still
of
like-
silence, Jim responded by asking if he could borrow our car or if we could take him somewhere.
What?
My wife, who was now fully awake,
Okay, so Jim, so I like, oh, were you looking for my keys next to my nightstand? Because if you like me, like you have a nightstand, I like to put my wallet or it's like some money or something on it, or my car keys. So like, there's a dude coming here telling me, so I was can I borrow your car? I was like, I don't know, like, what kind of shit is that? Most people want to borrow sugar or even ketchup. You want to borrow my car? Hell no. The hell on. Like, what the fuck? Come in here. He said 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And you are in my room without my permission while I'm sleeping, going through my stuff. And then you get caught. He's, I was just coming to ask you if I could borrow your car. Like, get the fuck out of here.
screamed at him no, not after he broke into her room at 3 in the morning. She told him that if he didn't leave, she was going to call the cops. And Jim responded to this by full-on sprinting out of the room. But not just the room. The dude full-on ran out the front door and down the street in a seemingly random direction.
Okay, Jim
I
lost
looked
his
at my
mind.
wife, and we both agreed
Oh,
that
he
something
is
was clearly
panicking.
off about the whole situation. We figured at
Sound
this
like
point
panicking
we had to
'cause
go
he just
upstairs
killed
and check on
somebody.
Jim's wife Jennifer, and so we do. We go upstairs, and the first thing we notice is the door to the room was shut, but it wasn't locked. I told my wife we should probably just leave her alone, but she insisted against it. So I reluctantly knocked and shouted the usual hello. After no response, we slowly turned the doorknob and pushed the door open. What we saw next was straight out of a horror movie. The room looked terrible, as if someone had just gone crazy hitting
Kind
random
of looked
areas
like
with
my
an
old
axe.
couch.
That's when we noticed Jennifer lying
That shit
on the
looks
floor
exactly
face
like my
down.
old couch.
We walked over to her, thinking that Jim had knocked her unconscious. But as we got closer, we realized there was fresh blood staining the carpet underneath her.
You know,
In complete horror, we called the cops
Sound drop.
immediately. We explained to them that we believed we had just walked into a murder scene, but that the murderer himself
you
had already
believe
left.
there's a dead body in
Police
there.
would tell
You
us
did
to
this
leave
a
the
murder
room
scene. You
and
talking
wait
about?
outside until they arrived. And sure enough, they would arrive.
There's a
not
dead
even
body
5
there. I
minutes
think I
later.
just walked into a murder
After
scene.
explaining everything that happened,
Not
that
sure.
night, the cops set out a search for Jim. And luckily, they were able to find him around an hour later, still running down the street. After further talking with the cops, they
He
said it
just
looked like Jim
sprinting.
was trying to find a gas station so that he could get fuel to help him burn the whole house down.
Oh wow,
The
he's like,
goal
I'm
of
killing
burning Jennifer's
everybody.
dead body inside. This in turn would remove all evidence connecting him to the murder, though Jim would ultimately be convicted with the murder of his own wife. For the next couple of days, both me and
Jim
my
was like,
wife
"I'm
couldn't
gonna
leave
kill
the
everybody."
house, as every time we tried, we would be swarmed by different news reporters asking us for an interview. Me and my wife would of course move out as soon as we found the funds to do so, but still, the whole thing was insanely terrifying. I mean, in the middle of the night, we had unknowingly come face to face with a man who had just murdered his own wife, and who was ultimately planning to murder us in the process of destroying the evidence.
Jim just went total psycho. He was like, he started panicking and just started, oh, I gotta burn the house down. He don't think about anybody else but
This happened
himself.
2 years ago, when I was working for a very large
hiding.
carpet cleaning company. It's exactly what you'd expect. I'd spend the whole workday going from house to house, completely deep cleaning the residents' carpets with a lot of different tools and machinery. I was 22 and a female. I'm actually pretty sure I was one of the only females working for this company. But at the same time, I really enjoyed it. And if I'm being honest, I was actually really good at the job. So, because of this, I was given a lot of work and would usually hit between 6 to 8 houses daily, driving all across multiple towns.
Damn, 6 day house. It
This
must
night,
not
I
have
was
been a
working
whole
late,
lot of
as
carpet to
one of the
clean, or you
houses
was
I
doing
cleaned
it
earlier in
quickly.
the day took way longer than expected, which of course sent me back the rest of the day. I'd say it was around 7 p.m. when I had one house left to do for the day. Though, upon arrival at the given address, I quickly realized it was in the middle of nowhere. And
Of
after
course it
knocking on the
is.
front door, I also realized no one was home. I was annoyed, yeah, but realistically, I
It's
was the
your
one that was
fault.
late for the
Yeah.
appointment. I
Yo,
decided
you
to
the
wait
one
until
late,
someone came
motherfucker.
home, as I knew I'd get chewed out by my boss if I left without cleaning anything. And luckily, 10 minutes later, the resident pulled up next to my van. He was a middle-aged man, balding, wearing dirty shorts and a jacket.
Yeah.
He honestly seemed a bit awkward, but was apologetic and let me
The
into his
dirty
house without
shorts
my
and the
unit
jacket
equipment.
is fine, but it's the balding.
Upon entering, I instantly
That's
realized
what
the
makes him
carpet
scary.
and just the house in general was already
We
unbelievably
just shave it
clean.
off. Just shave it.
I mean, it even smelled like cleaning supplies had just been used. To be honest, it was a little weird.
Okay,
I
so
wasn't used to seeing already clean carpets upon arrival.
carpet's already been
I
cleaned.
was genuinely questioning whether me cleaning them would even make a difference.
Just do your job.
Regardless,
Yeah.
I followed protocol and pulled out my company laptop to calculate how much it was going to cost before starting. Hey, do they keep track of where you are on that thing? His question caught me off guard.
What?
That was an immediate red flag.
Oh, you think?
initial-
Like, what kind of question is that? That is not a red flag. That is a goddamn spotlight just shining like this, and was saying that this, you are in a dangerous situation. Leave. Like, what? What? Who asked that? Hey, you put a laptop. Hey, can your employer track you on that? Like, even if they can't, say yes. Like, what? Like, yeah, I mean, most laptops, I'm sure they have tracking in them. Like, just in case like your employees try to steal it. I'm sure. Said it came in a van. I'm sure that has some type of tracking in it, so you don't steal that. Or if you quit and leave it on the side of the road somewhere they can find it.
Initial shock from the question,
Good.
I replied saying that it did, and that my boss knew exactly how long each job should take. In reality,
Yeah,
this
I was
was a
like,
complete lie.
that's a lot.
The laptop was literally just used to run a program that can calculate how much to charge a customer based on the inputted amount of work. But I felt like I had to lie, as there was definitely something off about this guy. Regardless, I started cleaning. I just figured the quicker I could clean these carpets, and the quicker I could get out of here and call it a day. Fast forward around an hour later, and I was finished. I hastily met up with the guy to explain I was done and how much he owed me. But before I could, he interrupted me. He asked me if I could also clean his basement carpets.
Hell
as
no.
he forgot to list them when he ordered the service.
Oh boy.
My heart
I'm like,
literally
too bad,
dropped.
dude. You had to do another
I just wanted
transaction.
to be done with this and get out of here. But my stupid customer service conditioned brain couldn't figure out how to get away with saying no. The guy led me to his basement door.
Customer
opened it,
service
and gave me a
conditioned
hand
brain.
signal as if to gesture that I was to go down first. I hesitated, but ultimately I did. Once I got to the bottom,
Ain't no
I
man
was
how to walk
horrified.
in, especially some shit looking
Basement
like
looked
that.
horrible compared to the rest of the house. Not only was it unfinished with no carpet whatsoever, but there were clearly 7 deep freezers lining the walls. In the middle of the room was a
Okay.
lit, low-hanging ceiling light revealing an old television set, VHS tapes scattered all over the floor, and an old recliner facing the TV. Behind the set were 2 white shelves full of VHS tapes. The
Okay,
whole
this
while I'm
is a
looking at
serial
the
killer's basement.
The guy stood at the top of the steps blocking the doorway with a disturbing smile on his face. I looked up at him and
Sorry,
said,
that made me visualize it. Like,
yeah, man, let me go get my stuff. With absolutely no intention of cleaning anything, I just wanted to get out of there. I held my breath and began to walk back up the stairs. The whole while, all I could hear was my own heartbeat in my ears. But as I got to about the
Motherfucker
3rd stair from the
standing
top,
up at the top of
the
the
guy
stairs
was
looking
still
like
blocking the
Pennywise.
door, with still that disturbing smile on his face. I stood there for maybe 20 seconds, just looking at the guy, waiting for him to get out of the way.
20 seconds.
I swear, I could hear footsteps in the basement behind me.
Shit, hell no.
Out of pure instinct and adrenaline,
I'd have hit that dude
without
right
even
in the
looking
chest with
back,
the elbow,
I
right in the
charged towards
sternum.
the guy in front of me. Luckily, I was able to break past him, and right as I did, I beelined it out of the front door and into my van parked outside.
You left all,
I was
left
leaving
all your
thousands of dollars of cleaning equipment behind. But
like
honestly,
fuck
in
it.
that moment, I didn't
Call the
care.
police.
I legitimately felt like my life was in
And the
danger.
police go get it. Shit.
As I was pulling away, I glanced back at the house one last time, and I saw the same man looking out one of the windows, now with no smile on his face, but rather a cold, hard stare. I thought I could see another person, but I honestly don't know. The whole memory is sort of just a blur. The truth of the
That
matter
adrenaline was
is
pumping.
that
She's
my
like,
boss would not have noticed I
all I
was
know is
missing
that
for
I
at
was
least
scared.
24 hours
That's it.
when
And
I
I had to
didn't show
get
up
the
for my
fuck
shift
out
the
of there.
next day.
You had a fight or flight, and it was
Next morning,
flight,
I would call my boss,
which is the
tell him
best
everything,
response.
and
Just
ultimately
run.
quit that very day. As far as I know, they got the police involved, but I try to distance myself from the whole situation, so I really don't know what ended up happening. I suffered PTSD over this experience. That day still
Yeah, I
haunts me.
imagine that because you almost
To this
fucking
day, I
died.
can't explain what I found in that basement or the sounds of footsteps I thought to have heard behind me. But one thing's for
You
certain,
came real close to
I
death.
believe that man and whoever else was
And
there had
possibly
planned to
rape.
kill me that night for some sick reason or another.
No, that's it. Yeah, because you was about to get. Oh, that made me. He said that dude was standing at the top of the stairs. Like, look at that. Made me think of Pennywise. He's like, I tried to. Just standing. It's like, it like crazy as look on his face. And when his eyes just started like drifting off, and then a sloth started cleaning like he did. Was it the second one with that girl? And so dripping out his mouth. He started south like that. Like it's so many red flags with that. I'm kind of pissed that she didn't leave from the get go because one red flag, you do your job. One red flag, the first red flag was the way his motherfucker looked. But hey, maybe he just got off work. So I'm not gonna really count that as a red flag. Maybe he's a mechanic or something. Works construction, works in a dirty warehouse. He just got off work. He's dirty, whatever. But I would say the first real red flag. This motherfucker asks you, "Does that can they track you on that laptop?" Like, what kind of fucking question is that? Yes. And then the second one was, "Hey, after you, well, you know what? I'll say the first one when you walk in a house, you're a carpet cleaning service, right? You walk in the house, it smells like cleaning solution in here, and the carpet's already clean. That's one. Second, ask you the dumbass question about, well, not say dumb, creepy ass question about, can they track you on their company laptop? That's another one. Third, can you clean the basement? Even though that wasn't in the transaction, what they ordered. They say I'd have been like, hey, I'd have lied and said, once you put the order in, I can't change it. I'd have said that. I'd have been extremely vague at the beginning. That way, I can be more specific later on in order to get myself out of this situation. But I'd have been like, hey, I can't do it. But that's the third red flag. 'Cause can you clean the basement? Fourth red flag, when this motherfucker gestures you to go into the basement first. You are in somebody's house. They show you where to go. They don't tell you, yeah, you can go ahead of me. Like, I'd be like, you going upstairs, like, hey, can you have a bathroom? It's like, yeah, it's upstairs. It might be maybe a little maneuvering, so you're like, well, I'll show you. You don't just to that person to go upstairs in front of you. Like you go upstairs and they follow you because you're the one who knows where to go. That's another, and then that's four, right? Five, you go in the basement. There's no carpet in the basement that you can see. So that's already like, and you are a carpet cleaning service. So And clearly the guy knows that. He knows there's no fucking carpet down there. And as soon as you go in the basement, you're going to be able to see there's no carpet in the basement. So, like, the nigga was like, and then the six is he's standing at the top of the stairs, just looking like Pennywise at the top of the stairs, smiling at you with a creepy ass smile. And then you're like, okay, let me go get my stuff. He already knows that there's no carpet down there and that you know there's no carpet. He probably read it on your face that you are getting bad vibes. And you're like, well, let me go get my stuff so you can get out from down there. Oh, yeah, I'm going to include in that, because no carpet, there's deep freezers. He said several deep freezers are lining the walls. Like, okay, do you own like some type of, like, are you a hunter? Because I knew a guy when I was in the military who hunted on like the weekends and stuff. A lot of times he went on leave, he would go hunting. If he didn't go, like, I think he was from Boston or something. No, he was from New York somewhere. And he would, if he didn't go home to see his family, he was going hunting pretty much. And he said he had a deep freezer where he would hunt and he would skin his stuff and throw a lot of meat in the deep freezer. And sometimes he would sell it, or sometimes he would take like whole deer carcasses to the butchers and sell it that way. If they people like wanted deer and stuff like that. So, because I remember he gave me some deer. What do they call that? Venison? Is it venison or is that no? Venison is baby calf meat. Or just say deer meat. I'm thinking like it's an actual term. But he had like deep freezers in his house, but he was actually doing like hunting and stuff like that. Like this dude, like I was looking around, like I don't see like a hunter around here because I'm already getting bad vibes because you told me to come in your basement to clean, and there's no fucking carpet down here, and I'm a carpet cleaning services. These things don't add up, so it's something wrong here, my friend. And then what was that? 6 or whatever, maybe it was 5, 6, well 7. Let me go with that. You go back up the stairs, this motherfucker just stands there. He stood there for 20 seconds just staring at you, smiling. Clearly, there's something wrong with this motherfucker. You go upstairs, like, hey, let me go get my stuff. And he just stands there, just smiling, just looking at you out of like, okay, I was like, you gonna move? Like, I need to get by so I can get my stuff. And like, that's why I like, that'd have been like, oh, let me go get walked upstairs, let me go get my stuff. Elbow. Elbow to the chest. Get the fuck out of my way. Because I'm getting the fuck out of here. You ain't about to kill me. Nobody about to kill me, skin me, rape me. None of that shit. Eat me, none of that. Ain't none of that happening. I'm getting out of here. I'm like a caged animal. Like, there's only one opening, and if I gotta go through you, I'm going through you like a fucking freight train. Then you heard footsteps coming up behind you. So clearly this is like a 2-man job. Which also doesn't make sense because you would think if this dude had he must be an idiot. Yeah, I don't know what, because he was more focused on being creepy or like, oh, she's actually going down the basement. It never works, but she's going down there. We're going to get to kill somebody. I don't know, but because you would think you would, instead of standing at the top of the stairs, you would follow this person downstairs into the basement and probably close the basement door and lock it. Maybe you can lock it from the inside. I don't know. Some people don't have that, but you can lock it from the inside. But especially I guess you have children who go in the basement and lock the door from the inside, and they young enough, they don't understand how to unlock it. Like my niece does that, and she did that once. She came over here and came in my room, closed my door and locked it. Now, she didn't understand how to unlock, and my brother came. And luckily, I know a trick to unlock the door from the other side. And I was like, why would you? but she's like 3 years. Well, when that happened, she was like a little bit over 2 years old, and she was just able to get up to turn the knob, and now I guess she's able to. She figured out how to lock it and locked herself in. I didn't even realize it. 'Cause I'm talking about my brother. He's like, all right. We gonna go now. And then I came to I was like, my door's closed, and he was calling her name, and I saw my door was closed, and I tried to open it. I was like, oh, and I could hear her in here, and I was like, oh my god. Then I had to, because it's like a little. I had to use a coat hanger's little trick to get in there and unlock the door. Oh, but you would think they would if it was two people. Which I'm not. I'm not saying that it wasn't. You think you heard footsteps coming? I mean, maybe you were so scared that you start hearing things and then painting a scenario that was making it you even more afraid, which happens. But I'm gonna say, yeah, she was right. It's still two people. Somebody was coming up those stairs. But you would think he would go down to the stairs with her as soon as because if you can see at the bottom of the steps and look at the whole basement from there and see there's no carpet, like your plan is already going to shit. This plan of abducting somebody and killing them has already been fucked up because they can see that there's no carpet down there for them to clean. And then you think the second person would have been right there to attack them, and they sandwich her, and she'd have been got because she can't out overpower two people. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't think, especially a surprise that only even a dude would have lost. But it was like he was so focused on being a creep that he just stood at the top of the stairs, let her come back up the stairs, and then she was like, "I need to get my stuff," and then just stood there and stared at her for like 20 seconds, smiling like an idiot, until I guess the person downstairs got impatient and started running to come get her. And then they both attacked her. That gave her time to get out. But I mean, like the first one was this. Why is this? I mean, I know you. If I was her, I'd have just cleaned anyway. I'm like, whatever. You go in and it smells like cleaning solution, and it's carpet is clean because I'm sure she's cleaned enough carpets to be able to tell this carpet is clean. Why you need it clean? But you don't ask no question. You just do it. Like this person wanted done, and just fucking do it. But yeah, it's like everybody's not geniuses. Maybe that's just they first time doing this, and they trying to work out the kinks of their plan in order to kill people. But it's still idiots, and I hope that they get their ass beat by the police. And that first one with the serial killer, I forget her name, but with the one that was from the movie Monster. Like yeah, I never seen her. I never heard of her killing minors. So, but like I said, unless that guy who was 14 looked like a grown man, because I know when I was 14, I had a full mustache. I couldn't grow a full beard, but I had like basically like a 5 o'clock shadow. That's about all I could have at the time. And some little whiskers were longer than others, but basically just like a 5 o'clock shadow, but with a full mustache. Plus, I was like 6 foot at the time, weighed like 200 pounds, maybe like 210 around that time. But I was a big boy. But yeah, people always mistake me for someone who was like in their 20s. At the hell, even in my late teens, people like. I remember how old was I? I think I was. I don't know. What I was 20. I think I was. No, I was. Wasn't 20. It couldn't have been 20. I think I was like 26, something like that. And I went. Yeah, I was like 20, 26, 27. I went to. It was a bachelor party with my brother's friend. So he invited me because I've known him since I was young too. So we went. So I went. And one of the strippers was like, we played a game. We were like, Cause she was like, "Who's the the Bachelor and all this stuff? Or who's getting married?" And I was like, "Oh, it was him," and stuff like that. And then we somehow got on the subject about how old we were. I don't remember if she asked it or what, but it was her and a few other girls, and it was a girl standing next to me. Like when she sat down. I don't know why girls do that. Whenever I go into a strip club, it's always one of the chicks pick me and they just sit down next to me. And they'll get up, do their dance, and then come back and then sit right next to me. And then I'll be okay. I'm like, well, I guess they spending time. I guess I go get a dance, give them some money or something. Cause they just sit down and be chilling. Like, and I'm like, don't y'all gotta like do stuff? Like you gotta go around and get table dances or private dances. So she just sit down next to me. Okay. And tell us some dude go like, hey, can I get a dance or something like that? But that always happens. And it was always strange to me because I'm like, aren't you working? But the chick asked, she was like, how old? He was like, how old we are. And people have always mistaken me to be older than my older brother, who is 6 years older than me. So I was like, how old do you think we are? How old do you? I said, who do you think is the older brother? I said, me and him good brother. She said, yeah, I can tell because we look very similar. And so I was just always much bigger than him because he's 5'10" and I'm 6'2". And she was like, which one? He's always been slimmer than me. And I was like, which one do you think is the older brother? I said, I said, we're 6 years apart. Which one you think is the older brother? And I told my brother's friend, I said, watch this. She gonna say it's me. Watch. And she looked nervous, like she didn't want to insult since he was old. It did, because I said 6 years, and she was like, yeah, and she pointed to my brother. And then they started. I was like, nope. I said, I'm not. I'm not old. I'm the young one. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I said, I'm young. I'm younger than him on the inside. It was like he got all types of issues and pains. I said, I got knee pain, but I said, I don't have all those pains yet. I mean, I had some back pain in the military, but I actually had a little bit before that too. But yeah, but anyway, I got off topic. Let's just end this. I hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe when you're here. Hit that bell or you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.